here.
Yeah, he was here. Oh, well, John Frederickson, nice to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has, John. Good to see you in the group too.
Yeah. Who else is new to the group and wants to kind of give a 15, 30-second shout out and what they're doing and who they are?
Julie, to speak up and tell the story of how you came to CTW. It was fun to hear.
And nice that you say it's not the first time that I'm joining, and I've presented myself already. Yeah, it was via McKinsey. That's what I just told you. And then I did some research because I wanted to see what is going on in the labor market. I repeated that already. And then I went from one internet, research to the other one, and then I ended here. And then I invited myself. So I'm really delighted and inspired by all the speeches I've heard here. And then I'm trying to also inspire my team to say, you have to look at broader, labor market is being seen with different parts and different bits and pieces all over the world, and the traditional times of employing is over. Yeah. So, but okay, we see. And then every time I get a new spark here and some food for thought. So thanks for that. Thanks for being part of that party. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for being here. Where are you from?
I'm from Germany, Hamburg. I'm based in Hamburg.
And you have a company there, or you're a researcher?
Well, the company I work for is a company called New Work SE. It's actually a very small company compared, if you look at LinkedIn, we are doing the same. Yeah, so we are bringing people together, and it's all about recruiting. So that's now our matchmaking mission, which we want to follow up because it's really a big market as well here.
Yeah, I love the New Work. Who was the gentleman that wrote the New Work book out of University of Michigan that was so great?
Oh my God. Yeah. I should know. I should know the name. You've caught me here. You've caught me here. I need to research. Here it is. It's somebody said it. Huh? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Good. All right. Well, welcome. Anybody else?
Yeah, this is my first time on this group. My name's Nick. I'm from Deal. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. And Nick, thanks so much for the great, conversation we had a couple of days ago. Hey, John, I thought I'd let you kind of take it away. And, obviously we've got some really great stuff to talk about today and ways to help freelancers and really move the ball along. But, John put together a meeting on Tuesday that had a lot of the industry leaders involved. And I don't know, John, why don't you take it away and describe what happened and then where we are with things.
Yeah, it's exciting. I think what we came to recognize was that so many people are doing things about what's going on in Ukraine, and we all heard when Iman joined us, and we learned about Remote Ukraine and the work that his organization did to just quickly pivot their platform and do it in a purposeful way. And then, we saw what Hayden Brown published from Upwork and things that were going on. And so we just asked a group of leaders from within the segment to come together and talk about what they're doing as organizations and to recognize some things. And it's this sense of freelancers helping freelancers. And just for context, there's over 500,000 Ukrainians who have been registered on platforms going back 2 years ago when it was first measured. So we know that this is just a really big community, and we have an opportunity to help people. And we've had this mission of transforming 1 billion lives by 2025. And, here's a time where we can really impact people's lives. So we took action and started bringing things together. And we've talked about the importance of standards and recognizing what we can do. And as you started hearing what people were doing, some of those standards just really became obvious of adjusting terms to pay freelancers in 5 days or less. People making sure getting the money into people's hands and even in some cases adjusting different currency so that people can get what they need. Organizations who are adjusting their algorithms or their physical processes to put a priority on Ukrainian workers right now, to put them at the top of the list, to make that available, to badge them in a way that allows people to say, hey, I want to go engage that person because I know it's going to make a difference in their life, and really work through that. We saw with Upwork had opened it up, kind of following on the coattails of Airbnb that we've heard about, but in making projects, donation projects available. So I'm going to you for this, but there's no work that's going to be done. We just need to get some money into the hands of a freelancer because they're out on the front lines fighting a war right now. Or trying to find ways to feed their family and do things. So surfacing those donation projects on the platforms, providing an opportunity for clients and workers to donate funds for personal and family needs. The Brackets Club that's part of Top Coder, or Top Coder created, doing some amazing things, pulling those things out, but something that's available that everyone can do. Looking at partnering to ensure compliance. We've seen people are making matches, but suddenly workers are in different countries. So Deal, Nick referenced coming in, and CXC are out there helping organizations make sure that they're legally compliant in the way that they're engaging workers, and how important that is throughout the process. This aspect of taking a stand and declaring your position amongst the community of workers is something that we think should be a standard and cause people to kind of embrace everything that's going on. Being ready for evolving and changing needs. We're in the early days of this. Eric Stetler from TopTal, kind of stood out and said, there's going to be a point down the road where recovery and rebuilding the Ukrainian IT industry is going to be a really big issue, and some pro bono work is going to be really, really helpful for people along the way to do that. And then just this idea of that John Windsor, I give you credit of bringing this community together, but this idea of sharing what we're all doing, and no one's out here for a commercial victory, but let's tell each other what's going on and go through it. So we're going to publish those standards and put them out there. We welcome you guys to add feedback. They're going to evolve. We're going to keep learning, but we want people to know, if you're a platform in the marketplace, these are some things that you can be doing that make a difference. If you're engaging platforms, ask them if they're doing these things to make sure that we're working with organizations that are truly making a difference in people's lives and working through that. So just really excited about what's there. And Brandon, if you could even just pull up the website for everyone, I think it'd be fun to just see, if you go to the CTW website today, it's no longer that black background with just our mission and kind of the manifesto that was created, but the leading story on the front page is about helping Ukraine. And if you dive into this, what we've got in here is just a directory of those services that your organizations are providing. The things that you're doing. I referenced the Brackets Club, and we've got Greenlight up there, and we've got Remote Ukraine, and what Upwork's doing, and what Top Coder has done. Send us that information. Let us get it out there, get it in the hands of people. Everyone in the community is doing individually wonderful things. We want to just make sure we can share as a whole all the things that people are doing and be that one place that people can come to that are part of the freelancer community who want to understand what's going on. We know advocacy is a big part of what we're going to do, so we're bringing it to life. And we just thank every one of you who have contributed and jumped in. So I'm touched at the heart of what's there, but I want to turn, I see Igor's on the line, and I know Aman is on the line. Aman, what else can we do to help you? You guys, tell us a little bit about the impact that's been made and where you need help.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. Let me just share my screen quickly with you. Can you see it okay?
Yep.
Okay, so quick summary for anybody who doesn't know. We spun up this site a couple of weeks ago now, remoteukraine.org. Basically, it's completely free to use. It's totally open for anybody to post a job and to get redirected to an external site. The only thing we care about is matching talent with job opportunities. So some headline stats. I mean, basically this launched through the call that we had a couple of weeks ago. And it was really your promotion that sparked everything going. Since then, we've had 20 plus media mentions, 40K of traffic, almost 4,000 refugees signing up. And now we're getting about 500 signups a day. Almost 1,000 jobs, 650 applications at least, because we only started tracking them a few days ago. Some more stats here. In general, there's a significant growth. This is a little interesting for you. Almost 700 employers from 61 countries have posted a job. This is just a snapshot of are some of our freelancers. These are just the freelancers who signed up in the last 3 days. It doesn't include anybody else. They're in 51 countries. Obviously, most of them are in Europe, Eastern Europe in particular, but displaced Ukrainians have actually ended up with family all over the world. What we're doing next is we're doing some more additional work on effectively mapping skills. We're building into some ATS integrations for some of the larger organizations. And we've already connected with some of the employer of record services to handle legals. And one of them is remote.com, and the other one is Greenlight, and we're chatting with a few others at the moment. And you asked, what can you do to help? A couple of things. We've been completely blown off our feet. I've been handling user support in Ukrainian for Ukrainians using Google Translate all hours of the day in the middle of the night. So we desperately needed volunteer support, and we've got a team of 10 plus volunteers now, thanks to Barry's shout out to LBS. I've just been funding everything personally myself, and we've got to the point where I've basically run out of cash. So I've set up a couple of GoFundMe. Asking for a bit of cash in order to cover some of the underlying technology. That's pretty much it. So that's a summary. And then Igor has been building the features from his laptop while sitting in the bath while the air raid sirens have gone off. So I don't know, I can pass over to him if you want to share anything, Igor.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name is Igor. Currently, I'm in Ukraine. I'm CTO in remote Ukraine. So yeah, thank you, Mon, for sharing those stats. That's incredible how many people reached out and posted their jobs, and there are a couple of thousand freelancers, workers that hopefully our technology will help them to find the job and feed their families. But yeah, the situation in Ukraine, as you all know, is not very good. Yeah, from time to time we are going to there are air sirens, air raid sirens, which means that plane or a rocket flying by, and we need to take cover. So yeah, my daily activity as a developer is interrupted by taking cover in a bathtub or in a safe place. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, Igor, thank you for being there and for doing the work and bringing this to life, and taking the vision that Iman has to make this happen and causing the technology to work such that we can get there. And as a community, let's keep helping. I think we've John and I have talked about it. You see, a reference in here. Go ahead and share your GoFundMe for folks on the call who want to do something there. But I think we've made a decision that we're going to go ahead and set up a GoFundMe as well, so that people in the CTW community can send something in. And candidly, I'm looking for volunteers. We want people who can look at the different options of where to distribute that money. And where to go on it. So we'll get that out to the community. We'll let you know when it's been set up, but we want to make sure that you know that there's, people are in need. There's a lot of help that people are asking for, and for a good reason right now. And however we can help, and whether we get that out to remote Ukraine directly, or we get it out to the Brackets Club, who've got mechanisms to get it into people's hands to get them train tickets if they need it. I've got a neighbor who raised some money so that they could get a cow and some chickens for a family because they needed to eat and feed their family. And so, just so much going on, but just super appreciative of all the work that's going on. So I'm going to follow with a couple pieces of just added activity. We want to engage this community. I think of, when we did our last call with Iman, I think of John Younger on the line saying, okay, raise your hand right now if you can do something. We got a bunch of people put their hands up, and obviously they took action, and we've seen the result behind it. So, we appreciate that in the community. So we want to acknowledge that, but we also want some help. We need to create some content to build it out there. If you've got a story that's there. If we find out about more things that are going on, or if someone could touch base with Aman from time to understand things that are going on, so we can help amplify that story and get it out there. I'd love some volunteers who can help us gather that content in, make sure we get it into Brandon in a way where we can get it added into the website and we know what's going on there. I'd love if anyone's interested in joining a committee so that we can effectively, again, we're a decentralized group. It's an army of volunteers here to distribute the funds as money comes in, to make sure that we're getting that out into people's hands. I don't want that to be done strictly from a group of people sitting at the top. We've got to look to the community to make community-based decisions. So if there's an interest there, we take that. I see and I volunteer on there. Brandon does a great job in capturing our chat and everything that's there. So we'll tag you if you want to put your hand up on the screen, or if you want to add it in to the chat. We certainly will take information there. And then we want some help. I'm looking at some of the people in here who I know have just done an incredible thing of getting their social message out, and who understand social media. We've got to amplify the message. We've got to get it out there. I know John Younger has written some things. I know John Windsor intends to write some things. I'll add some things in, but we want to get prescriptive for you guys of being able to provide something back to this community and say, hey, help us get this message out, whether it's deciding on what hashtags we can add in and specific actions that we can all be taking to provide that consistency of message out, and to get more people out here supporting this community. And you know, there's a need for it, but I would also tell anyone who is questioning, you know, what the longer term value is for their individual organization past the humanitarian aspect that's there. This is what will keep the regulators off your back. This is about going out and making sure we do what we know is right. Because when people come and look for what industries are behaving well and which ones aren't, the regulations go on those who don't behave well. And there are enough actors in the industry who have been targets. Let's keep the target off of your backs. Let's keep the spotlight on your face and the things that you're doing. There's just so much positive that's out there. So, John, I get emotional at a point. So I got to kind of pause here and let you kind of add.
Thanks, John. No, I think bring it up a little bit, you know, to a higher level. And, you know, Mafe, I know you've had your hand up, and so Brian, we'll get to you for sure, guys. But I think, you know, the first thing is that it feels like when John and Barry and the rest of the crew talked on Tuesday, there are two real places that we can add value. One is we can aggregate ideas, and I think John and Brandon have done a great job of that, of aggregating things from the community. So help us aggregate things. I think we're thinking about two different ways of aggregating, right? One is, how do we aggregate the message? How do we make sure that everybody understands what's going on? I think, as John mentioned, there's probably a way for us to aggregate funding as well. You know, we have a very passionate group, and I know from my own giving, it's easier for me to give to a group that I'm passionately involved with and let them help, you know, be able to be the curator to get money to Aman and Igor at Remote Ukraine, or to the Brackets Club to do the right thing out there. And I'm sure there's other stuff. I remember, you guys weren't there, but on Tuesday, Matt from Maven read a very, just talked very passionately, because he's Ukrainian and the Maven team is all in Ukraine, just talking about what people need on the ground. So I just would love to just open it up for debate. I mean, what do you guys think about in the spirit of aggregating opportunities, information, and funding? I mean, do you think we should start a GoFundMe page and then have a committee that directs it to great organizations like Remote, Ukraine and Brackets Club? Is that something that's of interest to the group? Anybody, just speak up if you have thoughts.
Can I just mention a quick point on the data aggregation side, John?
Yeah.
We've seen a number of Ukrainian-focused freelance or work matching platforms pop up in different countries. We're in touch with most of them. Basically, what we've been saying is, hey guys, take our tech for free. Mostly it's like people just putting together Airtables. It's not a very sophisticated system at scale. And so we've been offering the technology either under their own brand or with our brand. Ideally we can bring everything together and aggregate those job posts and those job matching so that work is not duplicated. And very happy to do the similar thing if anybody knows about other pools of talent in terms of the refugee space that they need the technology, happy to provide that.
Great. That's really good stuff. Any thoughts on helping to aggregate funding? Nothing? Somebody's got to have a point of view.
Hey, John, this is Tom.
Yeah.
Just the only thought that comes to mind is I think horsepower is sometimes more important than money. So, if, if we've got like spare devs, like I'll be asking my development team today if they want to contribute some hours a week to help code or.
Great.
Because, cloud's not that expensive. It does have some real costs, but at a certain point, money is not going to be that much of help. And what you need is horsepower. So comms, communications, Aman just told me that comms and dev and cloud. Comms, dev, and cloud are really what's needed.
Great. No, I love that perspective. Thanks, Tom. Anybody else? Hey, Jason Posel from Greenlight. Any thoughts?
Hi, everyone. Well, just to say, in terms of extending the volunteer network, right, for whatever skills, whatever, like I hear a man saying, you're doing this stuff all hours of the night, yes, we need to know what help different people need, because there's lots of people who want to find a way to help, right? So that kind of visibility, I don't know if maybe even creating a mini job board for volunteers, right? Within that might be an idea to do.
That's a great idea. Yeah, no, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Dave Messenger from Torque talked about doing a Notion board, which is similar to Airtable, where it could aggregate job offerings, but maybe we actually do it for volunteer opportunities. That might be something to consider as well.
No, that's really great. And then the amplification side of things, I know John, Younger, thanks a lot for leaning in on that and helping out, thinking through things. I'm, planning on doing the same thing and getting some stuff out, but we need help, amplifying what John and I write and any way we can do that. So whoever can volunteer to think about, how do we do that in the best way? How do we get the word out and create the right momentum, and also the right momentum for partners that we're trying to really highlight, like Remote Ukraine and Brackets Club and some of the other wonderful work that's happening out there. So please throw down and volunteer and Ashley, thanks a lot. All right.
John.
Yeah.
Oh, this is Sheila. Can I ask a couple questions?
Yep.
So a couple of things about the actual, so there's two things that I'm hearing. Number one, let's spread the word, and there's writing and there's other stuff, content creation. And then where are we directing them to? Are we directing them to a GoFundMe? Are we directing them to Upwork, to Remote Ukraine? My next question, so that's one thing. The other thing is, assuming that these folks can get jobs, I just want to back up a little bit and understand about the money situation. If they get money, are they able to spend it? Is there inflation locally? Because that's pretty much what happens in times of war. I just want to, and the last question is, unfortunately, have to ask this. I imagine it's only a matter of time until some bad apples try to capitalize. Not everybody is going to see this effort and then, want to contribute. They're going to want to exploit it. Right. And I wonder what controls are being put in place for that, because I give it maybe another 5 minutes before a bunch of cockroaches realize something good is happening, and then they go in and mucky up the works. So just want to kind of put that out there.
Yeah, I think a couple of things. I think it's all up to us to feel like the thing we're doing is right and honest and focused. And it's too big of a remit to worry about what everybody else is doing. So just focus on ourselves and focus on doing the great work. I think that's the first thing. And I don't know, Aman or Igor, I don't know how the money, in those kinds of situations or Jesse from Brackets Club. Jesse told a great story on the call the other day where somebody contacted Brackets Club and needed a train ticket, and they were able to get a train ticket really quickly to them. So, those are all, I don't know how the money's being distributed or captured. Maybe Igor, you could talk about that. How is the banking system working in Ukraine right now?
Well, in the places that where there are no active, no active shooting or anything like that, and like in city I'm in Dnipro, in western part of the Ukraine, banking system works. So the cards work, the Apple Pay thing works. Well, the areas that are in active conflict, obviously that doesn't work. Cash works there, but yeah, in the parts of the country where it's still more or less safe, the banking system works. So the businesses function as usual.
And Igor, what about the inflation question? Like in terms of currency, holding currency?
Yeah, the inflation, the prices went up a bit, but not significantly. I think the national bank controls some of the key prices for food, for fuel. So the prices went up, but not significantly, at least yet.
Mm-hmm. Great feedback. I'm going to shift over. Mafe, you've had a question. Sorry it took so long. Thanks for your patience.
I don't have a question, but as this discussion is very close to me because I have friends over in Russia, and this is in due respect for you, Igor and Iman, because this is promoting Ukraine. And I just would like to say I have a meeting with 3 of my Russian friends this morning, trying to figure out how to help Ukraine while they are also suffering, and they are also displaced, and they are also a refugee right now. And meanwhile, we are discussing this. We could not really ignore the fact that there are Russians that are actually doesn't like the war. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, while SWIFT is not there, and also our U.S. government had actually imposed sanction is actually affecting the local people. They are now losing job. One of the person that's attending CTW has a project for women, single women in Russia, that is funded by Google. Google cannot fund them anymore. MIT was supporting them. MIT has to cut that support, but the professor of MIT says they're going to continue to help those women. So 7,000 women that is supposed to be getting help is now deprived of that. Mm-hmm. And it is very dear to us, and also to consider that here we are, we cannot only think of one side, we have to think of it as a whole. If we want to transform work for 1 billion people, we have to think holistically and not just one portion, you know. And I actually appeal to our community that we could not handle this lightly, because this is important to what we are doing. And I am shaking, and I'm really, really deeply just because I just had a meeting with them, and I know how it is that they are hurting them. And they are trying to figure out how to bring peace, you know. And these are Russians and also Ukrainians, and they are relatives. Some of them are married to Ukrainians, and they have children that are actually do like mix of Russian and Ukrainian, and how are they going to divide themselves? Mm-hmm. So
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I just would like to bring this into the forefront, and to bring it to the light. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Mafe. No, I think, for a lot of us, it's very confusing and deeply personal. I mean, I have, Harry and Charlie, where we adopted them from far east of Russia, in Vladivostok and Nahutka 20 years ago, and, tried to really, help them be really proud of their Russian heritage. And one of my sons, now that a 20-year-old, is very confused with his own identity because of this. How could this happen? So I think my only point is that all of us are affected. And I think it just speaks to the beauty of this global community that we have, this, you know, that we're all connected in some way. And it's really awesome that we get to be exposed by that. There's no time other than, you know, there's been no other time in history where there's been such deep connections where we could, you know, meet with people and connect with people across the globe, and cultures are really mixed up. So I agree with you. It's a very complicated issue. I think that the issue, you know, and there are lots of ways to solve it. I think that the issue on the table right now is that there are a bunch of displaced folks, and let's start solving this Ukrainian thing first, and let's look at other possibilities. I love the comments in the side. I think Karin, you know, Noop said it well to say, hey, could this, you know, if we get this right, could this be kind of a format for other displaced populations and that we can run? So it's only, I think that the big focus right now is that this is an emergency, and how do we help those people on the ground doing that, and then roll it out as quickly as can. I mean, it feels to me like this group's job is to not just aggregate, you know, the news and what people are doing, and how do we amplify that stuff, but then also how do we create common policies that people can copy, right? That's one of the things I thought was so beautiful on the Tuesday call. There were some really great ideas that came out of what platforms are already doing. Like John said, the guys at Deal and the guys at Upwork are all advancing payments really quickly to the freelancers. Now, you know, those are things that can work across boundaries and in other kinds of situations. So anyway, thanks, Mafe, appreciate it. Anybody else? Brian, I think Pena, you had your hand up too a while ago.
I apologize for that. I think one of the things that I'm really excited about the possibility of a GoFundMe is trying to find a way to get these resources to people in little ways that are really accessible and make a big difference. And like the example that I think John used about helping people fund some things that are innocuous, just like microloans, or not microloans, but micro contributions to help people buy groceries or the like, I think is a really inspiring sort of thing. I'm just looking forward to participating in that way. I think the distribution and mechanisms are the piece that will be the most difficult to resolve, at least on that end.
So we're going to count on you, Brian, to be involved in this. Thanks.
I volunteer. There you go. Well done.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, no, I thought, you know, and I think there are some really impressive things going on. I mean, I don't know about you, John, but I was really impressed with what Eric Gilpin was saying about how Upwork's actually turned on a mechanism where you can hire freelancers and not have them do the work. So it's essentially modeled after the Airbnb effort. I saw this morning that 6,400 people from 150 countries have actually gone in and rented, you know, Airbnb spaces in Ukraine, which I think is such a beautiful story about, you know, the power of platforms and the ability to kind of connect people to people. So really, really good point, Brian. I think you're right. I think that it's, you know, there's a lot of noise out there and a lot of things that are going on, and how do we, you know, help bring focus and then make sure that the people that need the funds that are going to use them in the right way, to address your point of view, Sheila, to make sure that we get the funding that they need for them to do the really good work that they're doing on the ground, like Amon and Igor and those guys.
You know, I had a thought about that. Is this not a crypto moment? You know, crypto itself is free of government control. And although the users may not be 100% ready to start using crypto, what better application is there to be able to trade value without any sort of governmental body? I mean, if anything we're seeing right now is that governments kind of maybe have way too much power. And to your point, Mafe, if there is a way to help dissidents in Russia, I mean, the hand of compassion is one that is never forgotten. You know, this is an opportunity. I personally believe that the Russian government is completely disconnected. They're totally empowered, but they're completely disconnected from the people. Imagine if we can actually, and this should not be a moment where we're looking at Ukraine or Russia, because it's Ukraine and the Russian government, not Ukraine and the Russian people. And if there are people there, let us reach our hand out and enable them, and they'll never forget it. And so, you know, the last thing I want to say, what's so exciting about connecting jobs, assuming the whole money thing gets resolved, because this is just a moment in time. War is so uncertain, you know, who knows what could happen in the days and weeks. But the fact that we could actually connect people to meet people on the ground in Ukraine and not only hear their stories firsthand, but to be actually working together in the midst of this, Now that is something that no government propaganda can ever surmount. And that, I think, is more powerful than anything here, is connecting people to work together, connecting people in high places in corporate jobs with people on the ground in Ukraine. Now that is powerful.
Thanks, Sheila.
So there's a
Good point of view.
so there's a lady who already started it, and somebody is going to be joining her to help the refugee on both sides. And but she's from Russia, and she's now out of Russia doing that effort. And I think they're going to get funding to help both sides. So
Great. Thanks, Mafe. John, anything else you want to bring up here?
Just to follow up to Sheila's point on crypto, I think Nick and the team at Deal is already looking into that and figuring out how it comes in. I think that the message is, we know that this is evolving and it's continuing to change. This is a day by day, hour by hour, in many cases, evolution of what's going on. So as you see things that are happening in the market, as you see good practice, as you see ways that we can enhance and build out the standards and declare that, as you see ways that we can evolve those standards and apply them to other things, if you see us misstep, because we probably will somewhere along the way, speak up and use your voice. I think this is, John Windsor likes to remind us regularly, sometimes shooting for perfect is the enemy of good enough. And this is a time that we need to act as opposed to trying to get everything just right. So we're going to act, we're going to make a difference, and we're going to learn along the way. That's, I think, one of the other hallmarks of this industry is, there's a lot of things that are still evolving and changing constantly. And we've shown a level of resilience and a level of creativity to figure things out on the fly. And I commend every one of you for being those people who are doing that every day. So let's put it to work, and let's put it to work for the right reasons, and really kind of recognize kind of this seminal moment that we're in as a community to really make a difference here, and then to continue that cause and continue making a difference wherever we can for all of the people who want to work as part of the open talent community, regardless of the circumstances that are there. So
that's great. Yeah, thanks. Hey, Aman, would you be willing to share the deck that you had? Because I think some of those figures would be really great to either John or I or somebody can amplify that stuff in social, because I think some of those numbers are really, really amazing, and I want to make sure if I post some things, I want to get it right and get the numbers in the right place. So hey, Jesse, do you want to talk a little bit about Brackets Club? And I know most people here know what it is because, well, at least those people were on the call when you explained Brackets Club, but what's happening on the ground? I mean, you told that wonderful story about getting train tickets to folks. Anything else that's been happening in the last couple of days?
Yeah, now that we've helped folks get out of Ukraine, now it's, hey, I need a job, like I need help, right? And some of them are going as far as Portugal, and so when they get there, helping connect them with people that they know, or people that are part of Topcoder or some other community that they know. I think it's really important that they have a connection to their home country, and that we're able to help them with funding for now until they can get a job, and they're willing to do whatever. So, if I can get them to become volunteers to help with this effort, and I can pay them as an employee almost, so they can get funding, but they're helping the cause too, so whatever we can do to help connect them and also make sure that they are earning money in some way to live in their new country for now.
Yeah, that's really good. So, and just kind of for some background, Jesse, you might want to just tell people again, remind people how Brackets Club came about. I mean, it was at Topcode, but now it's a separate nonprofit, right?
Yeah, so I started the Brackets Club as a nonprofit organization last year, because I've learned through my tenure with a community is that they want to help each other. So regardless of how competitive they are, they want to be able to help each other. And there was never really a good way to do that. So I set up the Brackets Club organization as a way where they can do basically crowdfunding for the crowd. And so we have a number of folks who individually donate. We do have some corporate sponsors, and it's going into this bank of money where all of that money goes to any freelancers in need. So if somebody passes away, we can help support their family. We can help pay for funeral costs. If they have a really expensive medical need, they do not have health insurance, we can help them with that. And now we've been able to use a lot of the funding that we've been getting now for folks to help them leave Ukraine, as well as help get them supplies they need. Some young guy who's 18, he only needed a toothbrush and some clothes. So I'm able to send him money directly to him, knowing that he can go and get what he needs to be successful and do what he needs to do in Warsaw. And then, of course, I'm also, to May's point, is trying to help some of the folks in Russia. Like, how can I help you to get out and do what we can for you? So that's really what the Brackets Club is all about. It's just giving our community members, no matter where you are, a part of a community, together to help each other.
That's great. No, really, really great work. And it's really great to see kind of freelancers connecting with freelancers and solve these really, you know, what from a lot of our frame of view, it's simple problems, but desperate needs. And so I think those are really, really great things that need to happen. Well, let's just try to summarize, John. So we've got the aggregation going on that's on the website. Anybody that has any thoughts, you know, on how we improve that, other things that are happening, be really great. If you could send Brandon a link of what you see and maybe a 2 or 3 sentence description of what it is that's happening. And I think it would be really good, Brandon, to actually break down initiatives instead of just saying, here's what Upwork's doing. We could actually like maybe break those down to say, here's what's happening with advancing payments and deals, doing the same thing. And then here's what's happening with their, again, Upworks, because we know that situation pretty well. They're doing $1 million matching campaign. And so we get really granular on here's exactly what's happening, and people can pick out places that they might want to play. We'll also explore the GoFundMe idea and get you guys involved. I know a lot of people have volunteered here. I would love to have a mechanism that, really focuses our industry. And I think John's got an important point of view in the long run. If we as an industry show that we can raise money and deploy it responsibly, and how it affects our community in a realistic way, I think it's a really good long-term message to make sure that when we engage with regulators in the larger industry, that we're really taking care of our own and making sure that we're creating this kind of very organic safety net for the community. So those are two specific things in the aggregation side of things. And then John, John Younger, I know you're working on a post, and I'll start working on one as well. Aman, I'd love to use some of the figures from your deck. So I'll make sure that before I push publish that I get your latest numbers so we can just get as accurate as we can. But I think any way that anybody can help us amplify this, right? I know Jess is on the call. Jess, thanks for being here. Anything we can think about, like, I'm not so concerned about having this appear in a main, stay or, publication or larger blog, but how can we tap into their social, right? How do we really make this a social revolution so that, maybe we don't have a TechCrunch article, but TechCrunch, links on Twitter or one of their social avenues, so we can really create this a lot faster. Likewise, those folks that sit in the corporate world, are there ways to talk to your organization's PR folks and then be able to amplify the message through them as well? We'd love that help however we can. So I think those are the two biggest issues on our plate. We'll continue to be inform folks on exactly where things are. I think this is a critical moment for our organization. Are we going to really, we've talked a lot in the last year, but are we going to really walk the walk and support the freelancers that we say we're committed to? So that's where we are right now. Anything else, John, that you want to say? I think
no, just a big thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks for this dialogue. Hey, Brandon, any other kind of more maintenance stuff that we should talk about on getting you the information you need and putting stuff together so you can get the information onto the site and out to the world?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. You can just email it to me directly. I'll put my email address in the chat. There's also an email address on the transformationofwork.org website, and just send me the blurb and the link, and we'll get it posted up. And like John said, we're not trying to make it perfect. We just want to get something out quickly. So if you have suggestions, ideas, anything you think we can do to enhance it, make it better, we're all ears. So
yeah, and specifically Yeah, thanks, Brandon. And specifically, Aman, if you're running into funding issues or anybody else that's out there doing the work, Igor or Jesse, let's talk about that. We can figure out ways to help you for sure. So I think that's what's really important, is to really help us direct funds in a really specific way to get to the front line and help support really great work that you guys are doing. So
thanks so much, John. Just a quick word on that from myself. One of the difficulties has been handling the kind of PR of, I mean, we're a for-profit startup, right? This is just spun up as a charitable initiative, but we don't have any of the paperwork sorted out. And then people, want to donate, then this is a charity, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, we're all on here because we want to use business as a force for good. And we don't want to go through all that, nonsense paperwork. So that's one of the difficulties that I'm facing at the moment. And if anybody has any suggestions, I'm open to hear that. Thanks.
That sounds good. Well, we've got a lot to work to do. I think, really, really appreciative of this community. I love this community and the vibrancy, and, we've been going for a couple of years now. And so it's been really, really awesome stuff. And I think this is a place we can all kind of focus our energies on something to help our community and really, live up to our vision of transforming work for 1 billion people. So thanks, John, for your leadership, and Brandon for all the efforts, and then the rest of the community for all the good thoughts. Please, hit me up personally, or Brandon or John, anything that you guys feel like you want to, talk about or get involved with. Love for you to do that. So thanks so much.
Have a great day, everybody.
Stay safe,
Thanks,
Igor.
everybody.
Ciao.